This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now with local real estate expert Harvey Blankfeld.
Where we want to educate you about our market, empower you to make wise decisions, and help you engage with our expert contributers. I'm going to talk about some of the misperceptions in real estate. Let's carry the theme. Let's carry the theme
Let's reverse this around.
One of the things, and these are things that happen all the time with me, is that I both list and I both help sellers and buyers. I list properties and I help buyers acquire properties. And in the course of listing properties, I get the call, invariably I get the call, "Hi, Harvey, I'm interested in your listing at so-and-so on Smith Avenue," or whatever it is, and they want to go see it. And they want me to show it to them. And my first question always is, and always should be, do you have an agent?
Realtor, right?
Do you have an agent?
Yeah.
And invariably they'll say no. Whether they are or aren't,
right.
Sometimes, unfortunately, and we'll show them the property, and what they've learned is, or what they think is, or what they
There's
believe
an agenda here.
There is an agenda. They want to buy from the listing agent. They don't want a second agent in the transaction, and it's their belief. And there's people. There's people selling this as an idea or concept that by working directly with a listing agent, you're going to be able to get a much better deal for yourself. Now,
I get the inside track, right?
I got the inside track.
If you're representing the seller and me, come on now, you want to put that deal together.
The important qualification there is I'm representing the seller. I've already signed a contract with the seller.
Right.
And in that contract, we've actually already discussed the idea or possibility of me representing both sides.
Oh,
That's come up in the negotiation of that contract. And more times than not, in the course of doing so, I may be able to offer the seller, or I may have worked out a deal where I'm offering the seller a bit of a discount if I'm representing both sides, or maybe not. It doesn't. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Depends upon the situation, but it may be. But the buyer invariably wants me to give them some money too, and that's what ends up happening. They're saying, "Hey, Harv, if I let you represent me, you're going to give me some money, right? You're going to give me some. You're going to give me a deal." And first of all, one of the things I will never do, and the question is, Harvey, what will the seller do? What's their best number?
Right. What are they really going to do?
And whenever I list a property, contrary to some other agents do, I don't want to know. I always tell my seller before we start, I want you to know something. I don't want to know your bottom line, because I'm afraid that if you say it to me and it ends up landing there, you're going to believe I gave you up in some way, and I would never do that.
Okay.
And so I just don't want to even know. So there's no possibility of me giving you up, and I would never do that anyway, but there's a fear of that. So I don't want to know their bottom line.
That's interesting.
I never want to know it, and I tell them that when I list their property. I don't want to know your bottom line because I just want to get you as much as I can.
Do I get a better deal from you if you're the listing agent?
Not
Do
necessarily.
I get a better deal from the seller?
Not necessarily. Could be, but not necessarily. And here's the problem with it. You really don't have an advocate. You really don't, because my fiduciary responsibility is first to my seller. As a listing agent, I have to serve them first. So maybe there's mutually beneficial numbers that'll work for both sides.
Right.
Maybe not. Maybe, but if they are mutually beneficial, usually the seller is going to get the greater benefit. Once again, I have to say that it doesn't mean you should not have a buyer's agent working with you. And I think the overall cost effectiveness of the transaction becomes into play too. Let's say, for instance, you go through the course of doing the inspection and there's a problem.
Right.
That's a tricky negotiation. That becomes very, very tricky because now you've already given up a lot.
The appraisal
the seller's already
lower.
given up some, and it's ugly. So when you're representing both sides, and these issues do come up, a lot of these people who are doing this, they're going from listing agent to listing agent to listing agent to listing agent because they're looking at multiple properties, and they're trying to do deals with individual listing agents across the board. Where if you had an agent working for you, you're not doing that. You're just telling them, "Hey, I want this house. I want it for this much. Let's write an offer."
Right.
And then you're not constantly bartering or negotiating independent of your own agent. Your agent's doing that work for you.
Right.
That's why they're there too. Let's face it. Agents are in the transaction to help grease the skids to make things happen. Because when you're dealing more direct, that's why deals fall apart.
This has been Las Vegas Real Estate Now. Thanks for listening. And remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDAWN.